So today, we finally got news on the Steam Machine price. It's over $1,000 minimum. For what you're getting here, personally, I gotta say, hell no from me. I was hoping to be able to buy one for an awesome living room gaming PC setup, but with the announcement of it costing $1,050 minimum, there's simply no reality where I can justify the purchase. Personally, I think the Steam Machine existing in this market is kinda silly. Making a high-end gaming PC in a market where parts for high-end gaming PCs are at their absolute peak is just kind of dumb. I know the machine has been in the works for years, well before this RAM crisis, and I mostly don't even really blame Valve for this disaster, but it doesn't change the cold hard truth that this thing is simply too expensive, and regardless of whose fault it is, it still sucks. But in this god-awful market, Valve is making a computer, and I believe they just missed the greatest chance ever to show everyone why PCs are so amazing. They could have released this machine with a bare bones edition that doesn't include any RAM or storage and relies on the user to install it themselves. It's a perfect scenario since this thing isn't sold at a loss. The two components that are the most expensive just so happen to be the easiest for a user to install. This would have been a genius way, as it would have allowed users to use leftover RAM or storage, or find deals elsewhere to potentially achieve a way cheaper price. But Valve didn't. They're selling a computer without one of the greatest aspects that come with buying a computer, and that's very disappointing. This was their chance to benefit from the years of pushing the right to repair, and they completely missed it, and that is so disheartening. The Steam Machine uses normal, user-upgradable RAM and storage slots, and they just completely missed the mark on this easy slam dunk, and that sucks so fucking bad. It's the type of creative, outside-the-box thinking you'd expect from Valve, and I'm really sad to see that they're not doing that at all. But regardless, in this market, due to the prices, I don't think a 4K gaming machine really makes a lot of sense anyway. I think they should have made essentially a 1080p capable gaming PC instead of a 4K one. Granted, this is something that only makes sense in hindsight because, again, there's no way Valve could have predicted a RAM crisis just suddenly destroying everything, so I understand why that isn't what we got, but I'm still a bit bummed. I think a $500 Steam Machine with considerably worse specs would have still sold well because of all the benefits that come with PC gaming. It would have made a great entry point. It didn't need to try and compete with the PS5 in performance. But at that point, it's a whole entirely different system, so that's kind of irrelevant. So what does this mean for the Steam frame then? Are we cooked? Is this thing going to be $2,000 or something? Well, I'm actually terrified that it might be really expensive. And logically speaking, it will be. Let's take the nearest kin, the Quest 3, and use this as our tool for comparison. It got a price increase and is now $600 and still subsidized and sold at a loss. The Quest 3 has half the RAM of the Steam frame. And again, the Quest 3 is sold at a loss. Now let's look at the Steam frame. We know it won't be sold at a loss due to Valve's philosophies, something absolutely confirmed today alongside the Cubed of Doom and Despair. So now we can't even consider the possibility of a cost-eating device coming to the rescue. So let's just look at the features. We have full finger tracking, pancake lenses, a newer improved Snapdragon Gen 3 chip, full button layout, capacitive sensors on all of those buttons, and it essentially comes with a high-powered router. Oh, did I mention it as eye tracking? Did I forget to mention it as eye tracking? As much as I hate to say it, I don't think the lack of colored cameras is gonna make that much of a difference at this fucking point. There is this very small potential hopeful points here. If the Quest 3 allegedly costed Meta around $430 to make per unit at launch, then with the frame having similar optics, cameras, and tracking, the price of those specific parts may have gone down, but doubling up on the RAM was probably the worst thing they could have done in this market. The price to performance just simply isn't going to be able to put up a fight. And in this case, because all of the parts aren't user replaceable, there's no reality where we see the frame getting a potential bare bones version. So then realistically, we're looking at a Quest 3 price, non-subsidized, so I'd say minimum $650. Then you have to add the doubled RAM, which an additional 8 gigabytes of DDR5 off the shelf is $120. We get an absolute minimum price of somewhere around $800. That's not including any of the additional Steam Frame features. That's just a Quest 3 with more RAM. So what do I think? We're fucked. The insane price you're paying just to have standalone hardware is unjustifiable, since this thing is a PC VR streaming machine first. Valve probably should have, or still should, make a Steam Frame Lite with a weaker chip, less and slower RAM, and have those internals only be used for streaming and handling tracking, and cut the ability to play standalone games. But that's not gonna happen. So if you want to get into PC VR right now, unless a fucking miracle happens, I probably cannot recommend the Steam Frame. A pre-owned Quest 2 with a Puppet router is probably the most bang for your buck in terms of what I'd recommend. Yeah, so overall, very scary news, very disheartening news, and I've got no hope. I'm gonna go kill myself. I'll see you guys in the next one. Lops and kisses!